The roaring cat is coming back, thanks to the decision to build an SUV for the very first time. But becoming a true Jaguar requires a bit more than just a sexy shape and a handsome interior.
Everybody in the UK that has a passion for Jaguar, going back to the heyday of motor racing and the success back then.
For years, the brand's ply and trade is pairing British elegance with powerful engine performance.
V8, V12, they sound very exotic. I love V8s. I mean, the sound of them alone sort of just draws you into the very, very soul. But things are changing, and now we can create four-cylinder engines that are just as powerful and they're much more efficient.
To take control of their destiny, Jaguar designs a new range of four-cylinder, high-efficiency engines.
We're just launching our new four-cylinder Ingenium petrol engine. So we've got a 200 PS spread of power from the entry-level diesel to the highest power petrol.
Few things in the car industry are as costly as designing and building your very own motor architecture. But the payoff can be enormous.
Their own engine really gives the brand some more credibility, and it allows them to say, yeah, this is our engine, and there's a point of pride in that.
Engineering a new power plant is one thing. Manufacturing it is quite another. For the past 2 decades, the company outsources its engine building, but all that changes when the brand opens the Wolverhampton Manufacturing Centre.
That sort of capital investment is deadly serious. There's no turning back now, you know. We're creating a whole family of engines and the infrastructure to build them in a way that would have seemed inconceivable 10 or 15 years ago.
Wolverhampton is a £1 billion investment that creates 1,400 new jobs on-site and another 5,500 in the regional supply chain.
Here at the Engine Manufacturing Centre, we manufacture a new Ingenium engine. It's a 2-litre petrol and diesel, 4-cylinder lightweight new architect engine.
The facility uses the best tech for each specific job, and the 150 workstations use a mixture of manual, semi-automatic, and fully robotic solutions.
Our Ingenium engine is the first of our in-house engines that we're manufacturing. But to be part of bringing engine manufacturing in-house after 2 decades is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The word ingenium is Latin for innate talent, yet much of the aptitude on display is completely homegrown.
Classroom environment wasn't for me. I like practical, hands-on stuff, so looked for an apprenticeship and 8,000 people applied, so they were really proud of me achieving it.
If you really believe in that old-fashioned equation that better people equals a better business, then you should focus a lot of your time, your effort, your money, your resources into making people better. We embarked on an apprenticeship programme right from the very beginning.
The best part about working here is all the knowledge and experience I gained.
An engine's journey begins in the milling hall, where they machine the cylinder block, heads, and crankshaft.
We are currently in machining, so Module 1 machining factory, and this is the crankshaft line.
The raw crank is milled to remove excess material using a giant multi-tool disc.
It's got 42 different tips on each wheel, and each wheel does each half of the cranks.
We actually machine some of our components within 5 microns. You know, if you think that the average thickness of a hair on your head is about 100 microns, you know, it's 20th of that. So we're manufacturing some very precise tolerances.
The disc features a man-made diamond bit. When it's done cutting, it's sent to a 1,200 degrees Celsius oven to harden the metal. Then the crank gets polished. Across the hall, engine blocks are heated as well. This expands the metal just enough to allow a robot to insert cast iron liners into each cylinder. When the block cools down, it creates a perfect fit. Eventually, the milled blocks, cranks and heads are all sent to the assembly hall, where they produce 1,200 engines a day.
The engine assembly, it's split into 15 zones, and it goes through those 15 zones until it builds up into a finished engine.
Crankshafts are prepped and then paired to their engine blocks. A few stations later, the crank is installed using a hoist. Pistons are sent to the line, readied by hand, and then robotically installed. Camshafts are installed. Then heads are placed on the engine. And finally, the turbocharger is added.
I run Zone 13, which puts the wiring harness on the top. I was born here in Wolverhampton, so I'm a local lad from around the factory. For somebody to bring something so prestigious to my area, it was fantastic.
A fantastic feeling that comes with a lot of responsibility.
If we don't connect those connections properly, the heart of the car doesn't work. I haven't always worked in engine manufacturing. I was a bakery manager before I came here, so I worked for a major retail company producing bread and stuff, so it's a major career change. Even my kids know I work for Jaguar Land Rover and say, look, Daddy, you've built part of that car. It's a great feeling.
All of those wires are verified in the cold test cell.
It checks the electrical connections on the engine, intake and exhaust pressures, the overall functionality of the engine, just to make sure there's no particular issues with that particular engine.
A critical investigation that takes just 154 seconds. It takes even less time to feel the pride running through the engine shop.
It's such a proud moment to think that I've had a part of putting an engine into a vehicle, such a luxurious vehicle. So, it's such a sense of pride and achievement. It's really rewarding.
Finished engines are shipped 30 miles down the road to the Solihull factory.
We're now at engine receipt. This particular sequence is a diesel engine, destined for an F-pace.
Powertrains are built up and then sent to the main line for a very special union.
So we're now at body marriage. So this is really where the vehicle gets its powertrain, gets its heart and lungs.
After the powertrain is bolted in place, they install the steering wheel, headlights, and the iconic Roaring Cat front grille.
I think it's fascinating, all the different people and different lines and how the car starts off as a shell and gets driven off at the end of the final line. It's something someone has to see once in their life. It is quite mesmerising.
Cars are the most complex things that people buy. Even, your house is more expensive, but your car's got 30,000 parts in it. These days, people expect that everything in the car is going to work perfectly every single time for 10 years.
So we're now at the end of line 7, so we're getting close to the finished vehicle. What we see here, though, is another example of innovation. The innovation isn't just about the multi-million-pound investments and ideas. The innovation comes from our people. Then we can see Paul and his little chair going about his process. And what the guys here did was created that design themselves. So they went up to the seat supplier, get a seat that was going to be thrown away, and brought the seat into the plant. And in our tool shop, actually manufactured the chairs.
Soon, the wheels and doors are installed.
So this is the exciting part. We're at the end of line 8. So 202 assembly stations, 101 sub-assembly stations, 347 processes later, the vehicles have actually started for the first time and driven off.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like the big Jaguar roaring
And it's a great feeling thinking you're the first person that started that car and it sounds beautiful.
When the machine rolls off the line, it looks ready to ship, but there's still an entire battery of tests to go.
The vehicles come from the production line, goes through a rolling road where it tests the functionality of the vehicle.
It takes 3 hours to review every part of the vehicle.
This car going to the US, United States of America. There's 137 marques. It's an achievement. It's not just an achievement for me, but for all the team.
When I see one of these cars on the road, I'm thinking, well, I'm part of that. I'm part of putting that car there on the road, and I'm really proud of that.
Very proud. I remember seeing the first ones coming down the track and instantly fell in love with it.
Working with the cars all day, every day, you sort of take it for granted a little bit. But when you're actually abroad and you see them with a customer and the customer's got a nice smile on their face, hopefully in the sunshine, you know, that's a nice feeling. You go, hey, we built that.
The reason why you meet so many lifers is we all fall in love with the brand. We're all on this journey to make the brand what we think it deserves to be.
A journey that blends sophisticated luxury and high performance with surprising attainability.
We do like to think Jaguar sits in a place where we have this sense of exotic, but an attainable exotic, and I think that's very important for the brand.
Base F-Pace models start at £34,000, while higher spec versions top out around £52,000.
But I think what they succeeded at was making an SUV that fits so well with what we all hold so dear within Jaguars. It's gorgeous. It drives like $1 million.
It's a lot like driving a Jaguar sedan. You're just, you know, in platform shoes. You're just sitting a little bit higher in traffic.
This is a vehicle that you want. It's sexy and it's fast and it's an SUV and it does all the things that you wanted to do.
One of the keys to the machine's adaptability is its advanced four-wheel drive tech.
Jaguar's all-wheel drive system is very simple. It is a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car that has the ability to fade in the front axle. So by default, it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and it can lock clutches that send power to the front wheels.
The all-wheel drive system is simple to use, but complex where it counts. It can anticipate a loss of traction in just under 0.2 of a second and adapt accordingly. The result is a machine that can conquer a surprising breadth of landscapes.
Everything in the automotive world is moving to this homogeneous solution, and charm comes from the outliers. And every once in a while, Jaguar pulls off this outlier charm that no one else can beat.
Today, the brand is riding higher than ever before, thanks to the F-Pace, a gamble that's paid off.
You hate to fall into the whole drama of it, of, oh, if this car doesn't succeed, it will spell the end of Jaguar. But it would have. But it really would have.
If F-Pace missed the mark, then I think the confidence within the business would fold very quickly. That, to me, was really the biggest danger, is that we'd fail ourselves.
At first, it was sacrilege, but ultimately became destiny. The Jaguar F-Pace. The most important machine ever built by one of Britain's greatest motoring marques, and the key to its continued renaissance.
If you get up early on a Sunday morning, you can enjoy driving the car on the great roads around here, but at the same time, you can get 5 adults in the car. It is the ultimate practical sports car.
You think of Jaguars as old man stodgy cars, they're actually really all about the driving experience, and that F-Pace nails it. Nails it. Rides well, handles well, drives like $1 million. All right, who are we to complain?
I see them every day. It's remarkable. If somebody had asked me 15 years ago, you can drive down the road and see Jaguar SUVs everywhere, I'd have said, no, I don't believe you.